I've heard a little bit about how Nuviva has a unique approach to helping their clients go from no goal to achieving their goal. Can you run me through that 5 phase protocol you guys have?
So we do have a 5 phase or 5 phase approach. Within that 5 phase approach, we probably have like 10 sub phases. But the program was actually set up to change habits slowly over time. You can't change all the bad habits day one. Most people aren't going to be able to kind of grasp what the problem is. So each phase one, usually we'll start with a detox. We'll get them back eating. And really that phase one of the biggest problems I see with most people coming through the door that are overweight, it's a lot of people think it's because they overeat or they're overeaters. And yes, you have those clients, but you have majority of the clients went through life, got busy, had kids, had a good metabolism early in life, and they beat their metabolism up through having long gaps without food. And then obviously when they started to eat, they tend to eat too much or binge eat or eat the wrong food choices. And so it's kind of like this double-edged sword where they're not eating, slowing their metabolic rate, and then they tend to eat more than the body could actually use, and they put on fat, and it just gets worse as they get older. So phase one was actually meant to kind of get them in the habit of eating smaller, more frequent meals, start picking the metabolic rate up, show them how to lose weight through eating, not through starving. That's another problem. A lot of people have done multiple programs or gone on different plans on their own. And so we want to try to break that habit of starving the weight off. And we want to show them to obviously do it through eating, not through starving, and regulating the blood sugar. So we'll put them into a lower carbohydrate plan, show them they could live without them or with lower amounts of them. And a lot of times when you get a client away from eating a lot of carbohydrates and they shift their focus on their food, they're fine without them. But, we do, kind of take them into the next phase where we open up the food choices. So phase 3, we try to get them looking at calories, understanding calories. That phase is actually an eye opener for a lot of people because most people never really looked at the calories in certain things. And when they start looking them up and they're looking at certain healthy foods and they're like, okay, well, that's a decent amount of food. But then they start looking at something they should have, or they used to do, went to Outback and got a blooming onion. It was 2,500 calories. They're like, holy shit. That's why I'm fat, So, it's kind of, we try to make those little changes and those eye openers for them so they truly understand not only how to lose, but also the reason their weight came on and how we're going to fix it moving forward. So phase 3 is more calorie budgeting, teaching them how to kind of use whatever foods they want to use. Obviously, smarter choices, you're going to get better results. And then once they're pretty close to where they want to be, we can transition out. We do have a 4th phase. We can use carbohydrates and cycle carbohydrates. There's certain clients we do that with. Some clients don't do well once you start kind of having them cycle carbs. So it just depends on the client. The 5th phase of the program is the last and final phase. We'll typically get them in. We'll get their RMR, their resting metabolism with the machine. We'll show them calorically what they need. They already understand how to kind of position calories. And now they know how to take their calories and make it fit what their body needs to move forward to manage their weight. All while that whole process could have been 10, 15, 20, 25 weeks. You're going to have somebody who goes on vacation. We have a phase or a sub phase that we could give them if they're traveling. We could give them a plan if they're going away. It's just we have multiple little different type of plans that we could adjust depending on what the person's kind of encountering for the upcoming week.
You've mentioned that this typically can take from 10 to 15, maybe 20 weeks, depending on their goal, obviously. What happens if they're taking a little bit slower with their goals? How do you adjust those phases? Does the resting metabolic rate, do you calculate that or do you wait until their goal is achieved? You just rinse and repeat number 4.
A lot of times, if we have someone who's just completely stagnant and they're coming through and they're not seeing results, it's not common we get somebody that we can't get them progressing as long as they're doing what they need to do. The big thing about our program, though, is we're able to kind of switch the phases and find, what works for them. Some people do well with a ketogenic diet. Some people do well with a low carbohydrate Mediterranean type diet. Some people do better with, having no, if they're vegan or vegetarian, so that's kind of the art of what we do internally. Our whole team and staff has been trained to how to adjust it to the person to get results. But we do look at if they're completely stuck, sometimes it could be thyroid, could be off, maybe hormones. Sometimes we'll dive a little bit deeper and get some additional blood work to see if maybe the hormones are off. Every now and then that's a problem, but most clients, we could cater to any client, and very rare do we not get results if they're doing what they need to do.